So welcome to this week's video, another in the trail cam series. We're back up in Oxford looking for the barn owls. Subtly moved the cameras over the last couple of weeks. This position here, I'm calling it position 3, is looking at where the barn owl seems to be coming into the barn and initially sitting. I had a quick look, it's been in it 2 or 3 times, but not as regularly as I thought he would be. Whether that's to do with the fact that the young are almost at the point of where they're fledging. They're leaving the box, they're sitting on the edge of the box, they're still being fed, but they're leaving the box, flying, so it isn't going to be long. So the interesting thing for me here over the next couple of weeks is whether the adults stay here, stay in this barn, and so we can carry on observing their behaviour. I've got the other camera up in the fields. I'm going to probably go and check that before they're moving back home. Well, let's see what comes. So for those who have watched the previous trail cam video will recall that this position was the starting point for the camera, and I'll place a link to that episode here. I left the camera facing towards the beam where I suspected the owl was spending time at dawn and dusk, and although the bright light from the end of the barn proved a little bit problematic, this camera position was certainly captured some lovely close-up footage. It's lovely to see the owl preening, carefully cleaning and grooming those all-important feathers. You can see the owl is extremely meticulous in removing any dirt and pests, spreading special natural oils and aligning each feather in turn. Maintaining its feathers in a functional and healthy condition is so important, and allowing it to effectively hunt. The fringed comb-like structure of their flight feathers breaks up the sound of the air sort of flowing over their wings, making their flight almost silent, and the softness of these feathers muffles the sound of their wings flapping, allowing them to hunt, well, in almost complete silence. So this for me was probably the best bit of capture from the barn. Not cat versus mouse, but cat versus owl. And I guess to be a little bit more specific, this is Riley versus owl. He's not owned by the farmer, but as a regular visitor to the farm and also to the surrounding houses. The owl is certainly trying to make himself look as big as possible. I noticed how he's snapping that beak in warning. I guess he's trying to discourage Riley from getting any closer. Well, this particular time, it looks as if he's managed to do so. So it looks like owl won, Riley nil. So after a week I decided to turn the camera just slightly to the left to avoid that harsh light and to film the owl just a little bit more central in the shot. And I'm really quite encouraged by the fact that the owl just seems totally oblivious to the camera's presence. And this shot here is the only time really that I've recorded both owls in the barn. The only disadvantage of turning that camera just slightly is I've missed the initial rematch of Owl versus Riley. But you certainly get a better view of the beak snapping, and the camera just pick up the noise quite nicely. And you can see here how Riley's been just so much bolder. So this time, Riley prevails. Owl won, Riley won. The night view of this camera is really quite clear, and again, even at night, the owl doesn't seem to be put off by the camera at all. Here's the last and sort of third position of the camera in the barn. And the first week here, well, I wasn't as good and or successful as I've been previously, but this could be down to the sort of young owls not requiring as much food and attention. Although on checking the camera, Denise did see the owl leave the barn, but he wasn't captured on film. And this bit of footage could give a bit of a clue. I think it may be spending time on top of the camera. As it does look like a really convenient perch with excellent views over the farmyard. Only time will tell. So we have a trail cam looking up to the box, and the way in which they're designed, they're quite deep. So when the owls are quite young, the adults have to go into the box to feed them. So as they get a bit older, as we can see here, they're able to jump up through the opening in the box, and then they're strong enough to be able to stand and to receive the meals from their parents up on, well, this little shelf here. And as they get older still, they're able to make short flights in and around the box. And these flights become further and further afield as they get much stronger. And the adults, to encourage them to leave the nest, feed them less frequently. I guess they must be 10 to 12 weeks old, which means they'll try to roost outside the nest, maybe in one of the barns. They'll travel further and further away from the nest over the sort of next few weeks, and at some point, instinctively, they'll leave to find their sort of own home range, which I think is given the term dispersal. So that's the other cam checked, one that's up in the field. I sort of spotted a bit of a trail that looked like badgers going to what I suspected was a latrine. Followed it up and it definitely looked like a latrine. So I've had that camera there for a couple of weeks, and first week, not a great deal. Just goes to show that they have quite a wide range of routes and places that they go. But this last week, 7 days, yeah, caught the badgers 2 or 3 times. Now, downside of that is the fact that they're coming from some woods which I don't have access to, so hopefully have a chat with the farm and see if maybe we can arrange to get some access, which would be quite nice. So Denise, I've brought Denise along. Generally speaking, it's normally a bit of bribery involved. So we're off into Oxford. We're quite close to Oxford, so we're going to pop to Oxford with a view of having some lunch, which would be quite nice.
Absolutely, yes please.
Yeah, food and drink is always the way forward.
Absolutely.
So yeah, quite successful. So I'll leave the cameras here for another couple more weeks, and then yes, to see how well we do. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. And as always, it'd be great for you to join myself and Denise in the next one.